has happened. Hello and welcome into the SNY studios for breaking coverage of live reaction to Pete Alonso re-signing with the Mets. SNY's MLB insider Andy Martino reporting the deal is done. A 2-year deal worth a total of $54 million, $30 million the first year, player option for the second year. We're going to get to Andy in just a moment, but I'm happy to be joined by Dani Wexelman and Chris Lopresti. And Chris, let me start with you. We've been talking about it really for years now, Pete Alonso's free agency, but this offseason over and over and over again, your reaction to the fact that it's finally done and he's staying with the Mets?
Well, I think the end result is great news for the Mets and their fans. And I sat in this very same seat the night Juan Soto agreed with the Mets and felt like, you know what? I thought that was the end of Pete Alonso with the Mets because I just figured there was going to be too much of a market, too many other teams and interest out there that the Mets were just going to kind of be out of that price range. So for it to come all the way back to this where, yes, the $30 million in year one is pretty much where Pete wanted to be, but to get him back on a 2-year deal where, yes, he does have control of the player option in year number 2, but it seems like the Mets played this almost perfectly and they were able to show some patience and kind of some restraint and wait for things to die down a little bit, let Pete go out and do his thing, talk to some other teams, see what was out there, and ultimately, I don't want to say he comes crawling back to the Mets, but based on what he was expecting to get a couple years ago in free agency, even at the start of this offseason, for the Mets to land him on this very short-term, I'll even say team-friendly deal, I think is very much a win for them as they set up for what should be an exciting 2025.
Everything going through my mind was finally, right? We were all just sitting together waiting to put this show on, and then all of a sudden in the newsroom, Pete Alonso is back with the Mets, and inevitably this was going to happen. Both sides benefit from this, right? The Mets have their protection for Juan Soto. They're protecting their investment. And for Pete Alonso, maybe not the years that he wants. The dollars certainly are very nice, not the years, but it doesn't matter. He gets to come back. That's what he wanted. So both sides are getting what they want. Even if it was messy, even if it felt like we were airing out dirty laundry, we have no idea what really happened behind the scenes. It's a business. Egos were put aside, and for me, it's the best case scenario. And guess what? To me, the Mets just put themselves in contention for winning the division. Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. But I think we're being a little soft here on the Pete Alonso. He wanted a lot more years than what he got. I mean, definitely it's a great deal for the Mets, but Pete Alonso certainly wanted more. As we now welcome in Sal Licata for his live reaction to Pete Alonso coming back with the Mets. And Sal, you've been all over this. You were at Citi Field when Steve Cohen made his public comments. You've been riding the roller coaster along with all the media and fans. Your reaction to the news tonight that Pete Alonso is staying in Queens?
Well, a couple of things, Eamon. First of all, thank goodness it's over. We could all now get on with our lives and look forward to the season beginning here. I think Met fans are going to be very happy with this, naturally so. You look at Pete Alonso in that lineup now with Juan Soto, and that lineup is loaded. It's deep. Pete is going to be happy. I wanted Pete back under the circumstances that he's going to be happy. I think the Mets wanted Pete, and Pete clearly wanted to be back, but he wanted more money. Here's what I like about this deal. He gets the high AAV for 1 year, $30 million a year. He's not worth that much, so the Mets overpaid him, so he's going to be happy with that. And he gets the chance to opt out if he has a good year. So here's what I really love about it. The pressure is now on Pete Alonso. You talked a big game. You think you were worth a lot more. Go out there now and prove it in a year where the Mets are going to be expected to do serious damage in the National League, go out there and compete legitimately in the NL East, go maybe win a World Series. I don't care what anybody says about what the Dodgers did on paper. The Mets should have as good a chance as anybody with the money that they spent and the move they've made this offseason. And Pete Alonso should be a big part of that. Now that he got his $30 million a year, now that he's back with the Mets, now that he has protection in that lineup, there are no excuses. I don't want to see 217. I don't want to see 80 RBI. I don't even want to see 30 homers. It better be 40, 100, 250, consistency from Pete Alonso. That's what the expectation should be now that the deal is done.
All right, Sal, but the last few days, maybe the last week, you've sort of been on the negative side that you only want him back happy. Yes, he's getting $30 million, but it's kind of a prove-it $30 million in that one-year deal. What kind of a mindset do you think you're getting out of Pete Alonso this year with the Mets?
But I think he chose that, Eamon. He might have had an option to maybe have a 3-year deal. I think this is playing in the favor of Pete saying he's going to prove it. Again, I thought Pete was going to have a big year last year when he had the chance to prove it. He failed. That's why I wouldn't bet that he's going to have a big year. But the Mets They wanted him back. They didn't really have any other options at this particular point. And by the way, with this short-term deal, whether he opts in for the second year or not, they still should be in play for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. if he does shake free. But Pete, by turning down a third year for potential lesser AAV, it was important that he got the higher AAV and bet on himself. He's going to have to do something different from what he did the last 2 years if he wants to get a bigger contract. So I'm glad that he's up for the challenge of betting on himself. I would bet against him at this point, but I can't wait to sit back and watch it because there are no more excuses. This is it for Alonso. It was proven that he didn't get the big deal he wanted. He gets the high AAV for 1 year. He's got the protection in the lineup. We are going to find out finally, once and for all, what Pete Alonso is really made of.